This was always a difficult task, as Ophelia's rebellious curls constantly fought against all means to restrain them. It would have been hard for most people to guess that Betsy and Ophelia shared a father. They were both tintypes of their respective mothers. While Ophelia had inherited those famous flashing eyes, wild curls, and a constellation of freckles leaping out from a light olive face, Betsy had her mother's demure looks. Fine-textured blonde hair, rosy cheeks, and a figure that tended toward an appealing roundness. Betsy's stomach cramped with anxiety, knowing that today Ophelia's appearance would be a dangerous liability as they navigated the city streets. The house was as silent as the city docks before dawn. Ophelia hitched up her skirts and crept down the stairs with ease. But Betsy felt one traitorous floorboard creak beneath her foot. This step had long been loose, and Betsy had not taken the required care to step on it noiselessly. "Betsy," Ophelia whispered from the base of the stairs. "You're not even trying." There was probably some truth to that, Betsy had to admit. Some small, treacherous part of her secretly wanted to be caught, and thus avoid the hanging altogether. Roused to attention by Ophelia's voice, someone stirred in the kitchen. Their ears were greeted by the sound of leather boots tapping smartly against mosaic tiles, growing ever closer until Valois, the butler, rounded the corner into the foyer. Valois seemed shaken. His meticulously groomed mustache twitched, and a lit cigar dangled from his left hand.
"You two,"
he said, shaking the cigar at them. Ophelia whirled around, her hands clasped in desperation. "Let me start by saying—" Valois flicked ash in Ophelia's direction.
"Not a word out of you, deceiver!"
Betsy, still at the top of the stairs, gazed intently, almost hungrily at the glowing cigar tip. She gave a timid cough to catch Valois' attention. He watched her, wary of tricks, as she descended. "We're asleep," Betsy said when she had reached the landing. "We're asleep in our beds, which is good, because it means we couldn't possibly be awake to see you smoking one of those terrible cigars that Mama hates so. You know how she always says they leave an awful smell." Valois blinked, looking almost impressed.
"Very well, then."
He reached out his free hand to shake Betsy's.
"We have an accord. I don't want to know what you're up to, and when you get caught, I was never here."
Betsy returned his solid handshake, and Valois vanished to go finish his cigar. Ophelia was off almost immediately, striding out the front door. Shaken by her own success, Betsy scurried to follow. Ophelia slammed the door shut, and they sprinted down the street, alight with victory, the hems of their dresses brushing against cobblestones. The hanging was scheduled for 7 a.m, with the gallows erected in the square in front of the jail, an ill-kept edifice that leaned precariously to the side like a squat, drunken sailor. There were odd bricks missing from its face, having been blown away in the storms of previous hurricane seasons. The crowds stretched farther than anybody might have guessed, with spectators packed in from the front of the hangman's platform all the way to the marble gates of the governor's mansion in the east. There were many squeezed in between the colorful booths of the western marketplace, and all the way down to the northernmost docks, where the planks must surely have been creaking and straining under all the weight. To her right, Ophelia noticed a father hoisting his son up onto one of the crooked palm trees that lined the square, the better for the boy to get a clear view of the gallows. The mob, the audience, rather, cheered in anticipation, their roars shaking the ground as much as any earthquake. Ophelia resisted the urge to pinch her nose against the overwhelming smell of so many people crammed closely together, their perfumes and oils mixing with the tang of sweat and urine. "We should have gotten